Hi folks, and welcome to Gotham City Nights, our channel dedicated to everything related to Batman Miniature Game 3rd Edition. This video is part of our Miniatures Spotlight series called Moment of Glory, where we take a look at some of our favourite minis in 3rd Edition. We'll look to explain why we love them, try to visualise their rules and their uses on a board, and then take a lighthearted attempt to grade them on our unique unscientific scale. However, if you're new to BMG and want to learn what it is and how to play, we have an entire video series dedicated to that you should probably check out first. Other than that, let's jump right into today's topic. So today's topic in their Moment of Glory is the Arkham Asylum Joker. The Arkham Asylum Joker was first released at the start of 2nd edition and then was later repackaged in the Clown Party Bat Box. And even though he's probably one of the oldest miniatures from 2nd edition to now, he's still very good in my opinion. To me, he's the iconic character from the Arkham Asylum video game, voiced by Mark Hamill, laughing at you every time you failed and died. So I have a certain amount of affinity with him in that. So, as I mentioned before, in the Moment of Glory, we're going to have some form of vague scale of greatness for each of these miniatures. So I'm going to be looking at them in 5 different topics. That's going to be stat line, efficiency, lethality, tricks, and scoring. So each of those I will assign a score of either a nothing, a stun damage, or a blood damage. Obviously blood being better than stun. At the end, we'll tot them all up to see how many blood and stun the miniature scores. So AA Joker is your standard stat line for a leader in my opinion. He's got that 8 willpower, 8 endurance, 4 attack, 4 defense, so he can take a few punches. He can also probably get a few hits. His weapon is actually not that great in terms of dealing damage, but it has that poison trait on there, which is always good. He's about 105 points, so again, that's just that sort of sweet spot for what I would expect a leader in the Joker crew. And he is a little slow with the 8-inch move, so that does drag him a little bit down. I would give him a solid stun damage marker for this one. So in the efficiency section, what I like to look at is, does the miniature have a purpose for having an audacity every turn? Do they have a use for all of their actions, and will they actually use all of their actions in an activation? On top of that, you can also add any extra or spare actions that they might get through their traits. So looking at Arkham Asylum Joker, he's got a use for all of his actions. So he has a, obviously, move stat. Everyone's got a move stat. He has a decent attack in terms of attack 4. So if he needs to get into hand-to-hand, he can use that knife fairly well. He has a ranged weapon, so again, in those turns where he's coming up the board, he can shoot those teeth 16 inches. And remember, total vision and remote control means that he doesn't have to actually be able to normally see that miniature. He can shoot it around and over things, walls, buildings, and eventually that teeth explosive template will land on them. He again also has a huge array of special actions, all of which have their own purposes. My favourite is the gas, obviously, which affects such a wide range. So he has definitely a use for every action, but he doesn't have anything specifically more than that in terms of action efficiency. So I'd give him a solid stun damage marker for efficiency. Lethality, I've said this already, Joker's not going to really kill anybody. I've said that he can probably get a few hits in, but unless it's a defense 2 henchman with 4 endurance, he's probably going to struggle. It's just that single blood damage with very few modifiers other than his own traits is going to help him there. His teeth again are blood stun, but again, blood stun, people poo-poo at it because if you look at it on its own, it's going to take twice as long to kill somebody. But over time, over a game, there's other ways to get that sort of damage out, and it can be effective. But for lethality, other than the one-shot gun trait that he has on his special action, there's probably no chance of him killing someone unless you take a concerted effort to do so. So I would give him 0 points for lethality. Then we get to tricks. So, I mean, isn't it kind of funny that Trick's Joker, he's got all of them, pretty much. He has, most importantly, the thing which allows him to be so bold in a game of Batman 3rd Edition is the Protect Me trait. Effectively, the Joker is always going to have a ton of cheap henchmen around. If you're smart about it, you keep them within 4 inches in line of sight, so that if anyone goes to take out the Joker, you're just like, well, Thug 2, you have that. Ace of Spades, you can have that. You know, pass that damage around. And even with that, you can set up situations to score your own cards. So with that, let's move on to the next one. So Joker's Gas. Joker's Gas special trait that he has is a wonderful trick in the sense of it enables the scoring of the Joker deck. The Season the Mix card is probably on the looks of it the hardest one to actually score. But whenever you know how to set it up, whenever you actually think about it, right, I'm going to poison my own miniatures. And then some Court of Oil idiot is going to come in and try and attack me. I'm then going to use Protect Me to push that attack onto that guy who's got poison over there. He dies. You didn't kill your prey. You killed my guy with poison. I score Season the Mix, winning. So that's always great. The one-shot gun, as we mentioned in lethality, is really nice for a sort of burst damage thing if you don't have anything else to do with your special action. He has the luck trait, and I will mention here the first time I played with him, first 3-4 times I've played with him, I don't think I've ever used the luck trait because I keep forgetting about it. But it's great. You get to reroll 1 dice a turn. I mean, there's so many dice that you could roll as a Joker miniature that are extremely key. So just passive rerolls. It's brilliant. Total vision, he can see anywhere. So anything which requires line of sight, he can see it. You know, if someone has to hide a suspect marker when they're placing it, like with Black Ops, and they're behind a wall, don't care. Joker can see through that. You cannot score that card if you're going to choose Joker. And then probably the one that I haven't used as much, the Handshake. The Handshake itself is really nasty because it paralyzes a miniature, which basically means they don't get to do anything. However, to be in that sort of situation, it takes a bit of setup, and they also have to feel that role. So for Tricks, I think it's fairly obvious the way I've talked about it. He gets a solid blood damage for Tricks. Okay, so last looking at scoring for Arkham Asylum Joker. Arkham Asylum Joker, like any of the Jokers who have Chaos Agent and Trickster, they enable pretty much the entire faction to do what they want. You've got the Let Them In on the Joke card, which your miniatures have to have Trickster to score that. So this Joker gives everyone Trickster, so there we go. We've talked about the Season the Mix, ways to score that, ways to set that up yourself. You know, Joker does not mind his own guys getting hurt so that he might win the day. We've even got the new card Psychopaths, which goes off the same idea, which is to do with your miniatures being removed as casualty. Again, doesn't say that it has to be your opponent's miniatures. Set up those situations yourself. Shed a 14-point miniature in order to score 3 points in a game. It's absolutely the way to go with this leader and this crew. Looking at other things, so you look at the Showtime character card that he brings, always has been something that's been quite straightforward to score, especially in those situations where you've got that Protect Me nearby, so your opponent is having to think about removing potentially 3-4 suspects in 3-4 activations. It's just really difficult for them to do that, especially whenever he doesn't have to move to be able to score that. He just needs to activate later in the activation. Last thing I want to add, and it's just it's more of a combination based comment, but I find that this Joker really sets up Harley's character card very well to be scored, and this is the Jokerometer card. So Jokerometer basically scores whenever a miniature within 4 inches of the character that this card was played on rolls double ones. You get to teleport over to them and perform 1 melee attack. So that is heavily variance based, because you have to have a situation where double ones are going to be rolled and you have to be within 4 inches of them. What I've done in order to score this one, and as I said, it's made me fall out of my chair laughing, is that I set it up that all my guys are poisoned. I get in and around the enemy and maybe a few of them are poisoned. They're all within 4 inches. We get to the end of the turn. It's now phase 4. We're rolling for poison. Everyone's rolling 3 dice. everyone's rolling 3 dice. Like 2, 3, 4 rounds of people rolling the 3 dice for the poison, and the likelihood is one of those is going to pop, and one of those is going to give me a double one that I get to jump over and whack maybe my opponent, maybe one of my own guys. And you can set it up that you only do minimal damage because his knife isn't particularly nasty, so we just need to push that 1 damage through, and there's another 3 points on the board. So overall, for scoring, I give the Joker another solid blood damage. So overall, that is a solid 2 blood and 2 stun for the Arkham Asylum Joker, which I think for 100-ish points is a pretty damn good leader. Gives the crew a certain amount of flexibility. You don't have to do that 4D chess thinking because of the Chaos Agent Trickster thing. It's exactly what I want in a leader in this type of crew. He pushes them in the right direction scoring wise. He enables the rest of his miniatures, and he isn't just a do-it-all guy himself. He allows you to get use out of your other activations. I will say that this is not, as I say, scientific. This is not a diss on the other Jokers. This is just the one that I've found to enjoy the most. People do think that obviously the greater Inspire range on the 60mm base Joker is obviously positive. Yeah, I'll not argue that having more reach of that is going to do things, but I just like what this one brings and how this one plays into how I want to play the Joker crew. All that's left to say is thanks for watching this short video. Stay tuned to the channel by subscribing to get the all-important next dollop of content. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, please leave us a comment. Also, you can watch us put the theory into action in our battle reports, and to continue the discussion, you should probably call into the Arkham Rejects Discord server that I'll link below. Catch you next time, folks.